Alright, here is a video review of the Iron Factory Racing Bros IF-EX26A Annihilator. He is a repaint of their side swipe from the Racing Bros set. Obviously he's got the added light bar on top, which does have the drawback of not being able to peg his weapons on top, but not a huge concern. But yeah, he's basically just the fire department repaint with the added siren, or not really sirens, the lights on top of Sideswipe. He's not otherwise super different here in vehicle mode. He's got a little bit of a rump in the plastic here, but he rolls pretty well. He's a fun little toy. Being that he is not super different, we're just going to go ahead and transform him real quick. Let's just kind of turn him around, show off the side, the underneath, just to give you a good look at him all around, and we'll go ahead and start transforming him. So to do that, we want to go ahead and flip these two panels out, like that, pop the feet out a little bit, unpeg the back end from the front end, make sure these, his feet come out a little bit more to the side to give him clearance for this whole assembly to flip around, bring his knees up. As you bring this down, fold these panels back in, split his legs, and then now you got to flip the toes out here. And like I said, there's no real catch to get them unless you use this piece just kind of clips onto the post here, so you can kind of get a fingernail in and push up on one side of that. And it doesn't take much, just enough to get that toe flipped out, then flip his foot back in. And same on this side, just get it started, flip it out. Do that, rotate this whole, lift this up a little bit, rotate the whole assembly around here. Unpeg his arms from the sides and bring them down. And then flip out his fists. Goes down. Start to flip this panel around and then lift that panel up. That'll allow his head to rotate through here. Take the waist and you untap it from the hood of the car from here, and that allows this torso to collapse to where you want it, and then you fold this down all the way. It should snap into place. Once you got it all, come on. It should snap down farther than this. I don't know what's catching on here. There we go. Flip the chest panel back up and around. Well, that was actually part of the problem. He wasn't collapsing. Turn his head around. The arms up, bend them at the elbow. And then just kind of collapse this straight. There we go. And then fold this up on his back. And there he is in robot mode. He's got all the same posability. He's got a ball joint on his head. It's a little limited due to the shape of his helmet, but he can actually look up and down pretty well. You got ball joints at the shoulders, a little hinge there at the shoulder, bicep swivel, hinge elbows, no wrist swivel because of the way they flip out. He does have a waist swivel, and you can kind of lift this up a little bit to give him a little bit more room so it can rotate all the way around. I just pulled it back, like right behind the lights, just lift that up a little bit. Ball joint hips, thigh swivel, hinge knees, just over 90 degrees, and he does have ankle tilt, thanks to that hinge on his foot as well as the toe hinge. So pretty posable, as we've come to expect from the Iron Factory line. He said he really looks nice. They've really been knocking these little small scale figures out of the park. I say that in every Iron Factory video review because they just keep doing it. Now he comes with his small rifle, and you can hold that in either hand. Now he comes with, unlike Sideswipe, who just had the one, he actually comes with left and right versions of his shoulder launcher, because there's a little tab that was, again, originally designed, that tab is to peg it onto the roof in vehicle mode, which is blocked by the sirens. There's some gaps kind of where the feet come in, but the hinge is in there, so you, like, when he's in vehicle mode, you can kind of get it in this gap, but it doesn't fit securely, and I'd be worried about damaging that hinge if you pushed it in and out too much. So be wary of that. You can kind of get him to peg into the side of the robot, or of the vehicle mode, but it's a little difficult. It has the same hinge, and the reason, like I like that they did this, because with Sideswipe, you either have the option of, depending on which side you put the missile launcher on, either it sat behind the shoulder and limited the articulation of the shoulder with this tab, or it was very visible behind his head. Still the same case here, depending on which side you put it on, but personally I just leave it behind the shoulder so it's a little bit more hidden. But yeah, and it's got a little hinge piece inside there. That little red piece is on a hinge, so it can graze up and down. And if you want to, if you really want to, you can give him double shoulder launchers, because why not? See if I can't brighten this up a little bit. So yeah, cool little figure, very solid. Not a whole lot to really talk about him after doing the Racing Bros. Nothing super new, but a nice little deco for, or an easy redeco for what was already a pretty cool figure in their line. Quick comparison though, here he is with the original Racing Bros. So there's all three of the ones they've released under that banner so far. And he looks good with them. Here he is with Iron Factory Starscream, just to give you an idea of what he looks like with a villain. And for a different car mode, here he is with Blue Streak. And again, looks pretty decent. Now, somebody had asked a request. I actually had a couple people request that when I do these, I compare them to figures from other lines, other companies making figures in this scale. And I used to do that a lot back when Iron Factory was just starting out, and they didn't have a whole library of figures to cull from when doing size comparisons. And then once Iron Factory had enough of enough releases to go over that, you know, to do lots of size comparisons within Iron Factory's own line, which I still think is probably the best comparison, because if you're collecting Iron Factory, you want to see how their new character looks with their previous releases to see how it fits in with all the other stuff they've put out. At least that's my logic, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. But just for it, here it is with DX9's Dutch. And again, a slightly different visual look because he's a little bit more detailed, whereas Dutch is going for more of an animation accurate looking Optimus, but they still look pretty good together. The one that I had to get out to compare with Red Alert is Magic Square's Inferno. And I know I was worried that, like, I thought that Inferno was a little bigger, but I was worried that they were going to be like the exact same height, which doesn't really fit. But you can see with Magic Square's Inferno, even though, again, Inferno leans a little more heavily into the animation design cues, Red Alert and Inferno look really nice together. So they'll probably be paired up on the shelf when they all go into the display, or back into display. I just pull them out of it for the video. But yeah, another good solid release from Iron Factory. I dig the red and white deco. And like I said, Sideswipe and Sunstreak, the Racing Bros set they released, was already one of my favorites from them in recent years, or I guess recent months. In recent years, it'd be pretty much everything from Iron Factory. They've been putting out a lot of really good figures on a pretty regular schedule for a while now. But yeah, really nice looking figure, really nice version of Red Alert, and like I said, works really well with that Magic Square Inferno. But there he is, Iron Factory's Racing Bros IF-EX26A Annihilator. Thanks for watching.